Greetings, Light It Up TV family. This is your host, Cheryl, and welcome to another episode of Talk About It Tuesday. Yes, listen, if you are joining, as always, say hello to me. Let me know who you are. And go ahead and share this video out. Share this video out. As I always want to remind you that our Light It Up TV mission is to give children a voice and teach them how to use their voices to impact their schools, their families, and their communities. Talk About It Tuesdays is for the parents, and that's where we get to talk about, just have real discussions about accomplishments, achievements, challenges that our elementary age children deal with, and also the parents of those children. So I want to say thank you for joining me. Thank you. Let someone know we are live. I'm going to do the same thing. We are live. Thank you so much for all of your support. These awarenesses have been helping me as well. So I hope that it has been they have been being a blessing to you all and making you aware of the different topics that we've been discussing. Alrighty, let everyone know we are live. Hey, Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. If you can share the video out and let everyone know, tag someone, let everyone know we are live. Join us. Thank you all so much. If you're joining, let us know who you are. Our topic for tonight is bringing awareness to our special needs population with a focus on Down syndrome awareness. October is Down syndrome awareness month, and we want to just bring some awareness together, all right? Get some understanding, get some information, learn, discuss. I have been learning a lot. Every time I do these different awarenesses, I learn so much. So I hope you all are as well. And sharing it also with your family and your friends so that everyone can become aware of these different topics together. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. This is another episode of Talk About It Tuesday. Let's encourage each other to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, Mommy, how are you, Miss Lou? Yes, please share this video out. Share this video out and let everyone know that we are live. I'll give it about 1 or 2 more minutes for technology to catch up, for everyone to know that we are live. If you're joining us, please say hello. Let me know who you are. Let me know who's here with us. Oh, don't forget, a new episode of Find Your Voice Friday is coming up the last Friday of this month. So definitely stay tuned because listen, it's just, the Lord has just been giving us more and more ideas, and we have some new things coming. So just stay tuned. All right, I'm letting everyone know that we are live. We are live. Join us. All right. If you are joining us, say hello. Say hello to me. All right. We are going to go ahead and get started. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join in on our Talk About It Tuesdays discussion. They have been really wonderful. I meant to I'll put it in another group. So listen, tonight's topic is bringing awareness to special needs, and that is a focus on Down syndrome awareness, okay? October is Down syndrome awareness month, and that's what our focus will be about on this evening. All right, so if you have any questions, go ahead. If you think of anything, that's why our guest is here, is bringing awareness to special needs, and with the focus on to focus on Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Okay, October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. If you have any question, go ahead and drop it in the chat now. Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat now. All right, so I want to go ahead and bring up our guests. I have an amazing guest joining us, and that is Miss Keya Fowler of Kennedy Sparkles Inc. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you,
Hi.
Keya. Thank you so much for joining on this evening. I know your schedule, all of our guests, you all could be doing something else, and you chose to be here to share some information with us and bring awareness to Down syndrome. So thank you so much. Hi,
Thank
Yolanda.
you.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. If you're just joining us, our guest is Keya Fowler, and we are bringing awareness to Down syndrome. October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and that's our topic for this evening. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I want to say that before we start, please go ahead and do so. All right. Share it with somebody else so that they can subscribe to our YouTube channel also. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Keya, and your experience with our topic for tonight with Down syndrome. Tell us about that and the
Yes.
special needs.
So first, I want to say thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I greatly appreciate it. It is an honor. I am a mother of three. Victoria is my daughter who has Down syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and she's actually my middle child. So I have an
Wow.
older child, he's 19, and a
Mm-hmm.
younger son who's 15. I first initially found out that Victoria had Down syndrome actually right after I had her. It was already kind of suspected that she may have it,
Mhm.
but I did not have any any testing done. I opted
Mhm.
out of doing the CBS or I believe it's called the amniocentesis. I
Okay.
opted out of having that. It's so funny because when they ask you if you'd like to have that testing done, they also follow that with there's a possibility of having a miscarriage. They give you
Oh,
all of
wow.
opposing things,
Mhm.
and so I said, you
Mhm.
know what, I'm not gonna, I don't need to do that. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Uh-huh.
And then it was probably, I would say, within 24 hours when the doctor came to the room and actually said that, unfortunately, is what she said. So the bedside manner was not very good.
Wow.
She
Wow.
approached my mother and I, who was in the room with me, and said,
Mhm.
"Fortunately, we believe that your daughter has Down syndrome." And I was not affected by what she said
Mhm.
because of her having the possibility of having Down syndrome. It was how she
Mhm.
said, you
Right.
know,
Right.
I
Because
didn't
I
know.
remember in our conversation, you were thinking that
I
you
was
said when
thinking the
she
worst,
the worst, right? And and
It
and
was
the
like,
way she made it sound like that was, and that's not the worst, right? The
that's not
worst
the
is
case.
if our child was not even here, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. And so
Exactly.
yes, yeah, yeah.
So
So
now she's
mhm,
16.
mhm.
At 5 months, she did have open heart surgery. She had open
Okay.
heart
And
surgery at
how old was
5 months.
she?
She was 5 months old.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So one thing about Down syndrome is that you will have an intellectual disability, which could go from
Mhm.
mild to moderate. And also, there's a possibility of having cardio concerns as well
Okay.
as gastrointestinal concerns.
So cardio and gastrointestinal, and what was the other
Yes,
one?
ma'am.
Okay.
And the
Did you say
cardio
something else?
concerns,
Uh-huh.
gastrointestinal, and an intellectual disability.
Okay. And okay, got
Yes.
it. Okay. So tell us what is, because I know and first of all, let me say, I want to ask our audience, what do you know about Down syndrome? But Keya, I want you to tell us, but before you answer, I want to ask our audience, what do you know about Down syndrome disorder? What do you know about it? Okay. What is it? What do you think it is? Right? What do you know about this disorder? Um, Let us know. Drop it in the chat as she's talking. I want to know what you know about Down syndrome disorder. Because one of the things, Keya, before you get into it,
Mhm.
one of the things we were talking about is that how people react with special needs
Yes.
And not just children with Down syndrome, but just when you talk about special needs across the board, it's almost like them and us, right?
Right.
And that was one
Right.
of the things that that's one of the things why we want to bring people aware that we
Right.
want to stop. We want to end that. We want to end
Right.
that, and we want to stop
Absolutely.
that them and us because it's us together. Right. It just
Absolutely.
happens to be, hey, Lady Bilbo, thank you so much for joining us. It just happens to be that, and you helped me with this, that is just special needs. That's it. It's just they just have some special needs that they have
Right.
in terms of whatever it may be, right? In terms of how they may
Absolutely.
function, how they may be able to process things. It's just different. So we'll get into that. We'll get into
Yes.
that part. But I do want you. All right, listen. If you all are just joining us, our topic tonight is Down syndrome awareness. October is Down syndrome awareness month. And we are spreading awareness on Down syndrome. I want to know, okay, so no one has put anything in the chat yet. Normally, our audience is very participating a lot. So, does anyone know what Down syndrome disorder is? What do you know about it? All right, Keya, go ahead. Maybe they'll
Okay.
chat, and it
So,
could be a delay. Tell us, what is Down syndrome disorder?
so Down syndrome disorder is actually a genetic disorder. So we have
Mm-hmm.
46 chromosomes, just to bring a little
Okay.
science to it. And we
Right.
have 23 pair, right? So on
Okay.
the 21st chromosome, there's an additional chromosome,
On the
which is
26th
why,
chromosome.
yes. So on
Okay.
the 21st
21st.
chromosome,
Okay.
exactly, yes, X and Y chromosome. So you have
Mm-hmm.
23 pair. However, on the 21st chromosome, there's an additional chromosome, which is
Okay.
why another name for Down syndrome is trisomy 21.
Trisomy
Mhm.
21. All right.
21.
That's
Yes.
something new. I'm sure that our audience, along with me, this is the first I've ever heard of that. And say that again.
Trisomy 21.
Trisomy 21. Am I saying that correctly? Okay.
Yes, you are.
Trisomy 21. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
And what that means is that on the 21st chromosome, instead of two, the X and Y, there's an additional chromosome, which makes the tri
Mm.
being three.
Oh, wow. Makes
Yes.
sense.
And
Makes
so
sense.
along with
Mhm.
that, having and the thing is that it's not anything that is hereditary.
Oh, so it's not? Okay.
It's not. The diagnosis is not hereditary.
Wow.
Anyone,
Did you all know that? Did anyone think that it was hereditary? Did you all know that it was not hereditary? I didn't know that. Okay, go ahead, Keya.
and ironically enough, when I had Victoria and I was in the hospital, I had a nurse ask me, well, does Down syndrome run in your family? And out of all people, I kind of expected them to know. And I literally
Right.
had to inform them that Down syndrome, the diagnosis is not hereditary.
Wow. So do they know like what is there anything specific that, or is it just like one of those things that is
No,
just chance that
it's literally one of those things. You can,
wow.
it's just when the genetics, when the X and Y chromosome come
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
literally, that is
Right.
the only thing.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's when I was reading, that was one of the things that I read, but I was like, am I reading this correctly? Like they were
Right.
saying that there is no known scientific reason or any reason how it happens.
Nope.
But it's just something that, and I guess that's sort of like even like miscarriages, like sometimes there's no reason, like it's just one of those things that
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 happens.
happens, right? In some
Yes.
cases they know why, but then in some cases it's just one of
They
those things
don't.
that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
Latoya, she said she didn't know that it was not hereditary. Yes, I
Oh,
didn't know that either. I did not know that either. So, well, that was, I just asked you that. Like, I wanted to know, how was it whenever you, okay, so, if you have any questions for Keya, go ahead and drop them in the chat. If you have any questions for Keya, drop them in the chat. So, I want to ask you, what was it like for Victoria in elementary school?
ooh.
What was that like
Um,
in elementary school? And what were some of the things that you were diligent in making sure as a parent with a child with special needs that you were like, these things I made sure got done? So what was it like? What was elementary school like for her? And what was
Elementary
it like, I guess, elementary school and maybe at home where how was that?
Um, Starting with elementary school. So,
Mhm.
in terms of the students, the
Mhm.
interactions there,
Mhm.
I can say that it was pretty difficult. It was
Okay.
pretty difficult, maybe not so much in the school setting, but
Okay.
with the teachers I
Really?
had to advocate. I had to advocate.
Mhm.
My daughter happened to be very high functioning, and I remembered one situation where I went up to speak with the teachers, and they were telling me, and they celebrated this, and I thought it was really nice initially that my daughter
Mhm.
was a leader, and so they had her kind of teaching the other students in her class, and
Now,
I said,
was
well,
she in a special needs classroom, or
she
was
was,
she in
she was.
mainstream? Okay.
She was in a special needs classroom, but
Mhm.
the functionality, the functioning level of all the students, it varied. It
Mm,
varied from
mhm.
low functioning to very high functioning. But my daughter being high functioning, they had her kind of teaching other students. And I said, well, I thought that that was nice, because we do celebrate her leadership skills, but I wanted to make sure she
Mhm.
wasn't getting lost in the shuffle.
Mhm, mhm,
I wanted to make sure that teaching was being provided to her. So
mhm,
when they saw that my approach was like that, like, listen, my daughter, I need you to be here for her. I want to make
uh-huh,
sure that she's learning. I want to make sure that she's getting everything that she needs to get. They kind of took
mhm,
a different approach. They ended up sending home work that was more conducive to her needs.
mhm.
They ended up taking, I mean, they really, really invested. They called me, I received
Wow.
the emails. So, one thing I would tell people is to advocate and make your presence known.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that it's hard. It's hard sometimes because when you're working and you're trying to
Mhm,
manage, your children, and then God forbid
mhm,
you have
mhm.
a child with special needs that requires a little bit more.
Right, right.
It doesn't matter if you have to email the teachers, hey,
Mhm.
I'm just checking in. Because now we have technology. Technology is
Yeah,
everything. So
yeah.
if you just make your presence known, I promise you the teachers will take more of an investment in your child, and make sure your child is appropriately placed in the classroom setting.
Mhm.
That is
And and how would they go about doing that, making sure their child is appropriately placed? Is that through an IEP?
through your IEP.
Mhm.
I would, even through the work that they bring home. At one point, the teachers
Mm.
weren't bringing work home, and I knew at home we were working in elementary school. We worked on sight words. I knew
Okay.
what we were doing at home to counteract what was supposedly to be done in school. And
Mhm.
so when I'm looking at the work level and I'm looking at my child and I know the
Mhm. That's
functionality of my
good.
daughter and her
Mhm.
abilities, I'm saying the work
Mhm.
is not matching the ability.
Wow.
You know
And
what I
so
mean?
you knew that she could do more challenging work.
Absolutely. And that was one thing that I actually said to my teachers. I said, listen, I know
Mhm.
that she knows these sight words. I know that Victoria can be stubborn sometimes.
Mhm,
Which is actually
mhm.
one of the characteristics of a child with Down syndrome. They're a little bit
I was gonna
stubborn.
ask you what, that's what I was gonna ask you, like, what are some of the characteristics of how does that Down
Oh,
syndrome affect, so I know you said it affects them differently, but with I
mhm.
guess with Victoria, what are some of the things that and then give us general and then give us with Victoria. Generally, what are
Okay.
some of the things that
So
we may see
generally, children
in
with
terms
Down
of
syndrome,
behavior?
adults
Mhm.
can be stubborn.
Okay.
Um, but I will say that it's something that you can address it early on.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. And now I just see that basically the stubbornness is just that of a teenager,
Right,
that of a
right.
child.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But I was
Right.
able to readdress those things earlier on, in the
Mhm.
very, very beginning. You have stubbornness, they're very flexible. So this isn't a behavior, but just a characteristic. Very,
Mhm.
very flexible. The actually in the books they say they're floppy, very
And
floppy.
what are they talking, able to adjust to different situations, or are they talking physically?
Physical,
Okay,
physical ability.
okay.
That they don't have the stamina. the
Mm-hmm.
stature. But my daughter actually did.
Okay.
Very, very,
Okay.
very
Uh-huh.
strong. Very, very
Okay.
strong individuals. Other characteristics would be sometimes you'll see it in facial features.
Mm-hmm.
Facial features, they'll be of shorter stature.
And I think the
Um,
facial features is the one that I think most people when they, when they think of Down syndrome, I think, but it's more to it than
absolutely.
just that. Right.
And
So facial
even that
mhm.
varies. Even
Right.
it varies. I remember with Victoria, they said, well, she has slanted eyes, and slanted eyes, it happens to be a characteristic as well. But then they
Uh-huh.
said, well, you have slanted eyes. So it's very hard for them to actually tell. Then they said,
Uh-huh.
oh, well, she's short. And they said, well, wait a minute. You're short. I'm every bit of 5'2". You know,
Wow.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So it
Uh-huh.
was very hard. So they were like, I think. And then even as she had gotten older, then they said, well, wait a minute. She's very verbal. She's very communicative. Like she loves to talk.
Wow.
So at
Uh-huh.
some point, some people will say, I can't really tell if she has it or not,
Uh-huh.
but it
Uh-huh.
just varies from person to person, from child to
Wow.
child.
Wow. Okay, so stubbornness, flexible floppiness, facial
Yes.
features. There was one other thing you were saying. What was it?
The stature, short stature.
Stature, short
Yes.
stature. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Are
And
they
something
what
to
about
not
their
be,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, is
Mm.
obesity. You have to be very careful. A lot of them you'll see are
Oh,
pretty heavy. Yes.
really?
Yes. You have to be very, very careful. Because of
Wow.
the elasticity of their body and their
Mhm.
stomachs, they tend to eat more.
Wow, that is
Yes.
new information. Did anyone know that? That because of their elasticity, that and with their stomachs being very elastic, that they to have a
They'll
tendency
eat
to
more.
eat
Yes.
more, which may cause them to be more obese. Wow.
Yes.
That is wow. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so all right, so I have a few questions for you. Yolanda said she knew that. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. So the first question is, how early in pregnancy can you become aware of Down syndrome? Great question.
It's whenever they ask you if you'd like to have genetics testing. So
Okay.
I believe it was before, I want to say it was before 20 weeks that they'll ask you if
Wow.
you'd like to have a CVS or the
Mhm.
amniocentesis.
What CBS? What is that?
CVS. Don't quote me on the name on
Uh-huh. Is that
exactly what
just
it
another procedure? So they're
Yes,
just a
it's a
different procedure.
procedure where
Okay.
I know with the amniocentesis, they will actually draw from
The
the egg,
fluid from the okay, okay.
draw from it, yes, and they'll send it over to Greenwood Genetics.
Okay, okay.
That's where they'll
So
send you.
wow. That is
Mhm.
good. So 20 weeks, that's about 4 months then. So somewhere between
Yeah.
4 and 5 months
Mhm.
is Lady Bibble in answer to your question. And
And they'll ask
then
you if you'd like to have those.
so one of the questions someone has is, does Victoria have any speech delays?
She does.
Mhm.
Um,
How do you how have you been handling
let me
that?
tell you, because my
Uh-huh.
daughter loves, she's always had something to say. So one thing with her, she can speak clearly at
Uh-huh.
times, but we
Mhm.
remind her to speak slowly.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's funny because she will self-correct and she'll talk and she'll say something and I'll say, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But that's because I know my daughter.
Right.
Right? So
Because
you have
tell us about her personality, because let them know, because you were
oh,
saying that she has this outgoing
oh my.
personality, talking all the time. Okay, so thank you, Christina. CBS. Chorionic villus sampling during pregnancy, 10 to 13 weeks into pregnancy. Lady Bilbo, there you go.
Got
10
it.
to 13 weeks into pregnancy. Thank you, Christina. That's good.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yes. So her personality, she's very talkative.
Oh my. She's talkative. She loves fashion. She plays the
Uh-huh.
piano.
Mm.
She does ballet. She's a praise dancer at church. Um,
Wow.
yes. We
Okay,
will
quiet storm. Is that your mom? Say hi,
Oh,
everyone.
that's
She's
the
definitely
godmother.
that's the
That's the
godmother.
godmother.
Hi, everyone. She definitely loves to talk.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. She has such
Okay.
a vibrant, big personality. Very,
Wow.
very big. She loves people. She's
Mm-hmm.
kind, she's sweet. And I don't just say these things because she's my daughter,
Right.
but she loves people, and she loves God and loves church.
Wow.
She loves
Wow.
God, she loves church, she loves her family,
Mm-hmm.
um, and she's just sweet. Now she has a
Wow.
little sassy to her too. I will say, she likes what she likes,
Uh-huh.
and I think
I
that's
love
why
it.
people question about her diagnosis. Are you sure she has
Uh-huh.
Down syndrome? And I'm saying
Wow.
yes, but just understand that it's a genetic disorder, but it does not mean that she's
Mm-hmm.
not still a teenager, that she doesn't have
Right.
likes and dislikes,
Mm-hmm. That's
that
good.
she doesn't have desires to do things. Victoria, she
Mm-hmm.
wants to go to college.
I love that.
And if you ask her, it's so funny because she'll say, I'm going to be a senior next year. I'm going to college. I'm going to see my brother. He's in the Air Force, my older son.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
She calls him her baby. I'm going to see my
Oh,
baby. And I mean, she has plans.
I
And I
love
think
that.
that was the biggest thing for me is
Mm-hmm.
that I'm looking at my daughter who loves fashion, who loves all
Mm-hmm.
the things that many other children love. And
Yes.
so the times where I've seen her be isolated would really, really hurt because
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you just got to know her just a little bit, you would love
Yeah.
her.
And if you're just joining us, we are talking about Down Syndrome Awareness. October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. And we have Keya Fowler from Kennedy Sparkles, who has blessed us and with stories of her daughter Victoria, who has Down syndrome. But listen, she is just from what I can see, Victoria is the life of the party because Christina said Victoria chats the girlies up, love her, never a dull moment. I want to talk about because one of the reasons why we chose this awareness is because again, people just see the facial feature
Right.
factor, but I don't think they know what all it entails with this special need of Down syndrome, right? And
Right.
how, like you said, these are the same. And when you're talking, I'm thinking about, well, that's the same thing I would have to tell any child, right? Yeah, whether they have
Right.
special need or not, like I would
Right.
have to, you have some stubborn children that don't have special needs. Am I right?
Hello.
So
Yes.
so just in hearing, I think it's really good because as parents, as village of our elementary age children, we want to be aware so we can share with them the awareness as well on how to interact and let them understand. So I want to ask you a question. When she was younger and you said there was a challenge, were kids ever mean to her? Did she ever experience any
Oh,
issues of
yes.
being mean?
Yes.
Wow.
I can remember more specifically, my daughter had gone to New York. I'm from New York, and my parents
Mhm,
were up there. And she had gone up to my parents for the summer, and my
mhm,
mom placed her in a ballet school. Well, this ballet school happened to be in a very um, little uppity area,
mhm. Uh-huh,
only black, the only
uh-huh.
black individual in the classroom,
Wow.
and from my knowledge, from our knowledge, was the only one with special needs, but we don't know, right?
Okay,
Because special
okay.
needs doesn't have a look.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
that's
Uh-huh.
something people don't understand. Doesn't fully have a look. And
Yeah.
I remembered my mom because she would always look through the window, peep in just to see
Mhm,
how my
mhm,
daughter was treated. And there was one particular girl who happened to be the leader of another crew,
mhm.
and they
And
isolated.
about what age would you say she was?
She was 5 or 6.
Okay.
She was about
Mhm.
5 or 6, and I
Okay.
noticed that my mom noticed how she would be isolated. Well, there was a particular time, and at the time, Victoria liked to touch. She'd say, "Hi." She'd say, "Hey,
Mhm,
I want to play," or "You want to play?" You know,
mhm,
just
mhm.
very loving though. And
Right, right.
they would shun, or if she touched them, they would shrug
Wow,
their shoulder.
wow.
And I
And
remembered,
this is why I wanna I wanna stop you right there because I want us to be able to teach our children differently. That shouldn't be the case, right? It
yes,
doesn't matter what the culture
Yeah.
ethnicity, that should not be the case. All right, so go ahead and continue.
And I remembered um, the one thing that happened is she went to go play with them. And
Mm-hmm.
when she went to go play with them, they all ran from her.
Wow.
They ran from her.
Wow.
And my mother actually spoke with the teacher regarding that incident, and she let them know. She said, "This is
Mhm.
not how you treat someone, and that
Right.
children need to be taught that everyone is not meant to be the same. We're
Mm-hmm.
not the
Mm-hmm.
same."
Right. Right.
And she actually ended up pulling my daughter from that ballet school.
Yeah. And
Pulling her.
as go ahead.
I was going to say one of the young ladies from the group, from the crew,
Mm-hmm.
actually came up to my daughter and wanted to talk to her on the last day that my mom was pulling her. And my mom
Wow.
had to give them knowledge to say, you should have been talking to her before.
Right.
You should not have followed the other young lady,
Mm-hmm.
because she did want to play
Right.
with my daughter and engage with my daughter, but didn't,
Mm-hmm.
based on someone else.
Right. And this is where, again, because if other parents were there with their children, then maybe they could have said, "Do you see the young girl over there? Why don't
Yes,
one of you go and talk to her?
absolutely.
Why don't you
Absolutely.
all include her and don't let her be," and have that conversation about
Right.
not having people to feel isolated or to
Right.
feel not included, because that
Right.
is one of the big things when I was reading about Down syndrome awareness. They said to celebrate
Yeah.
their creativity and them being included.
Right.
Like they we are all together, right? And them being
Exactly.
included. Yeah, and so thank you for sharing that, because this is why I definitely want. How do you teach your children? Thank you, Christina, for reminding me about that question. Parents, I want to know from you. How do you teach your children about special needs?
Mm.
How do you teach your children about special needs? Have you had that conversation with, if you have elementary age children, grandchildren, nieces, nephew? How, what have you taught them about children with special needs? Please drop that in the chat for me. If you are just joining us, again, October is Down Syndrome Awareness, and that's what we're talking about. How do you teach your children about special needs? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know in the chat. One of the things you answered that question, which is about extracurricular and sports and
Yeah.
activities. That was
Yes.
a question I wanted to know. Are children with Down syndrome able to participate in extracurricular activity in sports? And I guess from Victoria, the answer is yes, but it could vary. Is that what
Now,
you're?
yes, it can vary, and she loves to dance. And
Mhm.
it was actually because you even have to advocate there. You were
Mhm.
talking about educating the parents, because that's where it starts, right? It
Mhm.
starts with the
Mhm.
parents. Well,
Right.
I recalled an incident where my mom had shared with me, because she had taken her to ballet, actually here in Columbia.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
there was
Okay.
my mom was peeping in, because we always peek in to make sure that
Right. Right.
she's
Right.
treated the right way.
Right.
And there was an incident with an instructor. A young lady told a lie on my daughter and went
Mhm.
directly to the instructor. The instructor, without asking questions to Victoria, immediately went over to my daughter to scold her without
Wow.
even asking. So my
Wow.
mother instantly went and approached the teacher and said, "How could you? How dare you? How dare you take
Right.
the word of a
Mhm.
student without even
Mhm.
speaking to my granddaughter and
Right.
asking her, but you
Right.
called yourself scolding her?" And
Mhm.
come
Why do
to
you
find
think they
out,
did that? Why do
I
you think they
really
did
think,
that?
honestly, I think it's lack of knowledge. I
Mhm.
think it's you've not had experience with a child with
Mhm.
special needs. I believe it's I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are uncomfortable,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
If you don't understand the diagnosis, or you don't understand, then you
Mhm.
just react based on the lack of understanding.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. But
And
what I do know is that when my
mhm.
mother provided with some guidance and some teaching,
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
the owner of the dance school, that turned into she wanted my mother to come and provide some teaching to the young ladies about what it is to not just
Wow.
be honest, but to be accepting of others and to
Yes. Yes.
accept that yes, they're different, but we're all different,
Yes. Yes.
you know,
That
but
is
not differences
yes.
you see.
Look at
You
that.
can't see
Look at
all the
that.
time if I struggle with anxiety. You can't
Say
see
that
all the
again. Repeat. That's say that again.
you can't see all the time if I struggle with
Right.
anxiety. You
Right.
can't see all the time if I struggle with depression. You
Right.
can't see if I'm all the time if I'm completely unhappy at home because we're of
Mhm,
such low
mhm.
economic status and we don't have anything. But every
Yeah.
day I'm putting on a smile. You can't always see those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those are things that are different. We're all different in
Yes.
some capacity.
Yes.
You
Yeah, that
can't
is
see if
so
I
good.
struggle with sickle cell.
And that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, that whenever I first did this podcast and started it, and when I spoke with the parents and surveyed the parents, the main across the board from all walks of life, all economic statuses,
Right.
is that children can be mean. Children
Yes.
can be mean. Like teach, like let's talk about parents teaching their children not to be so mean. Like and when the young lady was on whose child was dealing with sickle cell, a special need, sickle cell,
Right.
and she said that when he walked into the classroom after missing maybe, I don't remember, but an extensive amount of time, 6, 7 weeks of school, he was in elementary school and he walked back in, and he finally built up the courage to tell them what was wrong. And the kids, when a child said, "Why have you been missing? Where have you been?" And he said, "Well, I have sickle cell." And immediately the kid, now that's not anything to see, but immediately the child said,
Right.
"Ew, oh my gosh, I can catch that." You
See?
see? And so, like you said, I love what I've been hearing and speaking to you, that we're all different.
We're all
That we're
different.
it's just that we're all different. And I see Lady Bilbo, in answer to the question of how are you teaching your children about special needs, and do you teach your children about special needs? She said, yes. Libby actually took up for her friend that has special needs and also in a wheelchair. Very good,
Oh,
Libby. Very good.
thank
She invited her
you.
to her birthday party and
Yes.
treated her like she would treat any other friend.
Yes.
Excellent
Thank
job,
you.
Libby and mom. Excellent job. Excellent job. And she says, as parents, we must communicate to our children of how to treat each other. We all are different.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. 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 I love that. So, oh, okay. So, Christina, thank you. I remember growing up, my parents always introduced us to children and adults with special needs. Our special needs class always had recess, etc., with us. Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome. See,
Uh-huh. That is
let's share something
including
with
them.
you. Cheryl,
Mm-hmm.
I remembered Victoria's eighth grade prom. She was so
Uh-huh.
excited at Irmo Middle School. And when
Mm-hmm.
she got there, she loves music. And so the music was going on and
Uh-huh.
she just wanted to dance all night. And I remember that there were students that came over. Oh yeah, she just wanted to dance. And I mean, I just went out and danced with her because I went with her.
Right.
And there were
Right.
several students, they were so shocked. They said, "Okay, Victoria." They were so shocked. But I took a minute to educate them. I videotaped it. I took a minute
Yeah.
and I said, "See, now had you talked to her all school year, she's a lot of fun."
Wow.
And she knew the music, she
Wow.
was singing, and they were
Look at
completely in
that.
awe. And they surrounded her.
Wow.
And I said,
Oh
"See,
my
all you had to do was talk to her throughout the school year, and you would have known she
yeah,
loves music and loves to
yeah,
dance."
yeah.
And they looked and they were like, "Yeah," and they gave her a hug and everything. But
Mhm,
look how
mhm.
many years it took. It took for you
Wow.
to get to know that little piece of her.
Wow. Oh, I
Yes.
love
So
that. Lady Bilbo said, look what she
yes,
said. She said, it's not a disability, but a different ability. Yes. got that off
Absolutely.
Darman videos. Yes, I watched
Yes.
those too. I watched those too. They
Yes.
have quite a bit of special needs skits. Wow. Oh my gosh, I love
Um,
that. It's not a disability, but a different ability.
I
Woo.
love it.
Listen,
I
I
love it.
love. I love that, right?
I
What
love
would you
that.
say, Kia? Yes, I know. What would you say is one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to children who have Down syndrome?
I just think the misconception is that they can't do the things that others can do. In terms
Right.
of people are in awe when they hear that she can play the piano. Well, they don't feel like how
Wow.
can she play the piano? People are in
Mm-hmm.
shock
Mm-hmm.
when we do our videos about Starbucks because she loves Starbucks and she has her special order. And they're like, wait a minute, when they hear the things that she has passion for and
Mm-hmm.
that she plays the piano, that she can do ballet, that she can
Mm-hmm.
praise dance at church, and her memory
Yeah.
is so great.
Mm-hmm.
Her memory is better than mine. I mean, when those things are brought out, they're in awe
Mm-hmm.
because it's almost like, how
Yeah.
can you do those things? She has special needs. How can
Mm-hmm.
she do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then when that's what
Wow.
makes the
Wow.
question, are you sure she has
Wow.
special needs? And I'm saying, yes, she has Down syndrome, but Down syndrome is not
Mm-hmm.
what defines her. She's not
That's
Down syndrome.
right.
She has Down,
Right. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's to the point where, and I love it. I love Victoria's spirit. And I
Yeah.
attribute that to God and the
Mm-hmm.
family that we 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 affirm who she is in God and as a
Yes.
person
Yes.
we affirm those things in her. And now, we've gone to the doctor and in the checkup time and they're asking me all the things about Victoria. And that one time she said, Mama, don't forget, I have Down syndrome. And I was like, well, Victoria, she knows already. She said, well, tell her. And I said, I thought that was the most amazing thing because it wasn't like, oh, I have it. Like some people would react, oh, you have Down syndrome. She was like, oh, yeah, don't
Uh-huh.
forget to tell them. Tell them I have Down
Uh-huh.
syndrome. I said, Victoria, they know. She was like, Ma, just tell them. And I said, okay, well, she has Down syndrome. They said, oh, okay.
I
But
love that.
that was
What
the
did you do to keep her self-esteem up uh throughout I guess throughout her years, elementary, middle school? What did you do? What are some of the things that you do? How did you keep that self-esteem so positive, her self-confidence so positive?
um, like I said, God,
Mm-hmm.
and telling her that he created us different. We're supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
peculiar people. I'm different.
Yeah.
I do things
Yeah.
different, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and telling her that she is beautiful, that she's created
Mm-hmm.
in God's image, and
Yeah.
that he's God. He's
That's
almighty.
right. That's
So how
right.
special does that make you? I
Yes. We're
remember the
all
other day
wonderful.
I
Fearfully
said
and
to
wonderfully
her,
made.
okay. I said, I think I'm pretty great. Don't you think you're pretty great? She'll tell you. She said, yes. I said to her the other day, I said, oh, you so spoiled. She said, no, I'm not spoiled. I'm special.
Oh,
And I said, wow, okay, Victoria. And she owned that. She said, I'm not spoiled.
yes.
And I said,
I
well,
love
yes, you are. Well, me too. And she said,
That's right.
too. But just continuing to tell her who she is, telling her
Yeah.
that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
has some big things for you, big, big things.
Mhm.
You are
Mhm. Mhm.
beautiful. And telling her all of those things. I remember one day, it was shortly after her birthday, about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And Victoria had just gotten her hair done. She had a cute little outfit. And she went
Wow.
to school. And I guess they were talking about her hair. My daughter cut her hair. She went the next
Wow.
morning. I saw her in my room and I saw big chunks and pieces of hair. And she cut her hair. She said because they were picking out her hair. Mind you, her hair is very long. It was long. And I said, we said, Victoria, that was jealousy. They were jealous
Right.
of you. You don't have to change
Where
anything about
this
me.
was in
You have
middle school?
This was in elementary. This was in middle school. Yes, ma'am. It was in middle school. She was attending Irmo Middle, and I remember I actually videotaped it because I wanted to be able to go back to that and to share how
Mhm.
bullying, the effect that it has on children.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she cut her hair. So
Wow.
now, and we talked to her about that. I remembered my mom, we prayed
Mhm.
with her,
Yeah.
and she had a long conversation. You are beautiful. You don't
That's
change
right.
anything about you. Doesn't matter
That's right.
what the children say.
Right.
Doesn't matter
Right.
what they say. You are a beautiful young lady. And she
Yes.
cut her
Yes.
hair. Yep.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. And that is that, and I'm so glad that you shared that, because it just goes back to see why I'm telling you, like, maybe if we can get children to see, like you said, these effects, and to
Yeah.
realize how different is just different, as we've been saying, that maybe it won't trickle as much over into, I know it may some because teenagers and children, but if we can begin to just have more of a dialogue about it. And
Yeah.
as you were talking, I was wondering, when you said like they didn't know Victoria was able to do all that stuff at the dance. What do you think about, and this is an idea that just came to me, like, do you think there should be some type of educational component at the beginning of school, like for different, not only that special needs, but different special needs that children may come in contact with? What do
I
you
do. That's actually and I think it needs to be beyond bullying week, where they
Right,
identify
right.
bullying
Like, I'm
beyond
talking about at the beginning of the
Mhm.
school year, right?
Absolutely.
Like, this
Absolutely.
is a education, like, letting, like, how they do, like, different assemblies and different things,
Yes.
right? Have an assembly or something where n any type of special needs that they've had at the
Right.
school, like, let's talk about, let's share so that children can be aware, like, and do it, like, in a fun way, so
Absolutely.
that children can know that different is just different, right? That,
And I think
oh,
that
and they can start seeing, oh, they're the same, that's what
right.
I like to do. They're the same as what I like, the same things, that kind of things I like. It's just they have they just
Yeah.
have special needs, but we're still the same, and they have, as Latoya said, a different ability, right? So I
Right.
don't know. As you were talking, I was just wondering, like, do you think that would be helpful?
I do think it would be helpful. And I also that's part of why I established Kennedy Sparkles.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Tell us
So
about that. Yes.
Kennedy is actually her middle name.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
And
Uh huh.
so, God gave me that name because I'm saying, okay, my daughter shines,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
That's
like
right.
literally God gave me that name. And the
Yeah.
slogan is where every girl will shine. And so
Yes.
part of what I
Yes.
want to do is
Mm.
I would not I would just have the conversations of being different is okay. We're all different. Like we talked about, you may see my difference
Uh huh.
or you may not see my difference because
Right.
you could think you see something that you don't actually see.
I
So
like
part
that.
of that is I want to provide the education. I want to
Yeah.
have events where we're having inclusive
Yes. Uh huh.
conversations, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to talk about those things. And we can even talk about, what, I am different. Aren't you different? I am different. Well,
Right.
what makes you different? Let's identify
Right.
what makes you different. And then we can
Right.
celebrate those things and we can talk about them. And
Right,
I
and
feel like
educate, because I, like you said, as in parents don't know. Well, if the parents don't know, then the children are going to know, right?
right.
So, but maybe the children, if we're educating at the school, or what you through your e- what is a nonprofit that you
Yes,
have,
it is.
right? Yes,
Yes.
then maybe they
That's
might can share. Hey, they can begin to share with others as well. I don't know, but I love that. I love where every
and that's what I
girl
want to do.
shines. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Where
where
every girl
every girl
shines?
shines. We all shine.
That's
We all
right.
shine. And my desire is to collaborate with the school so that
Yes.
maybe we can
Yes.
establish some kind of some kind of
Mhm.
conversation,
Yeah.
having the assembly where we just bring about the topic of, how we treat people, how important it is,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
not isolate, what
Right.
inclusion really is beyond
Right.
Bully Week,
Right.
beyond
Right.
Down Syndrome Awareness Month, you know,
Right. Yeah.
beyond the identified holidays. Let's
Yes, I
talk
love
about this
that.
on
Beyond
just a
identity.
regular day.
Mhm.
Hey, we're just going to talk
Mhm.
about this. We're going to talk about inclusion.
Yeah.
Have you said something kind to someone today?
That's
Did you
good.
look out for someone? Did
Mhm.
someone need
Mhm.
assistance in a wheelchair, or was there
Yeah.
assistance that was needed? Maybe somebody was struggling reading something.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm. And it needs to
have
be
you
ongoing because it needs to be
ongoing?
more than one time, right? We know that, as the Bible said, faith comes by hearing. Well, this
And
education of
absolutely
changing things will come by
right,
hearing it over and over and over
over and
again
over
until they
again.
begin to get that and understand that concept. I see that Charlene,
Absolutely.
as we have about 10 more minutes, and I see that Charlene McGill said in the corporate world, they have sensitivity training. Very good. Yes. Schools
Absolutely.
should do the same. Highly agree.
That is
Great
very true.
suggestion. Great
Very true.
sensitivity training because that's what it is. Being
It
sensitive
is.
to one another,
It
being
is.
sensitive to how another person feels, being
Right.
sensitive to know that five or six of us are here and that one person is over there by
Right.
themselves.
Right.
Right? Yes.
Right.
And as we are talking, I want you to go ahead and be thinking of your last words, and I want you to talk about uh, your support system, and then
Yeah.
think about your last words. But I want to share something that, as we were just talking about sensitivity training, is I want to share something that in our conversation. And the Lord knows my heart. You know my heart, right? Because that's why I want to bring awareness.
Yes.
Even in communication, I said something that I didn't even realize and that's why I said it's going to have to come by more
Right.
than
Repetition.
continuous conversation, right?
Mhm.
Continuous, not just a one time. And I said to you, we were just going on and didn't even realize I had said it.
Right.
But you so sweetly and you so nicely. And I want to know, when I shared this, has any of you ever said this before? And I said, whatever we were talking about, I said, how does Victoria compare to other normal children? And when I said that, and you just said, well, I don't really look out there. I want to stop you a minute. You did it so sweetly, and then I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know the correct terminology to use. Has anyone else on here ever said that? Be honest. Have you ever said that before? Whenever you're talking about a children with special needs against other children, you say normal children. And I was just asking a question. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't even realize that I had said it. And you said, well, we don't say normal children. We just say children that may not have special needs. And I was like, oh, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that my apologies. Like, I didn't even realize. And I was just going, talking. And you waited till I finished. And you're like, well, I want to just stop you a minute because that's not the terminology that we use. And then I realized that how that terminology could possibly make somebody with special needs feel, right?
Right.
I don't know if I'm the only one or not, but I wanted to share that just in case you have shared that and use that terminology when speaking about children with special needs and children that who do not have special needs, that that needs to be wiped out, right? The normal needs to be wiped out. That's shouldn't be in our terminology. It should be special children with special needs and children that may not have special needs. So is that something that you've heard a lot, Keya? Is that something
Yes.
that you find a lot that people have challenges with how we talk about children with special needs?
Yes, I have, because when you think about what is normal, You know, if COVID didn't teach us, you know, COVID alone taught us, okay, that because that wasn't the norm, right?
Right, right,
Um, and when we can't say normal and establish that separation, but then say that we want to celebrate inclusiveness, we can't.
right,
You know,
right,
it's almost like you
right.
have to be mindful of the things that you speak. We already know that we have
Mhm.
to be mindful of what we speak out of our mouths, what we put into the air.
Right,
And
right,
so if we're
right.
teaching children to, be kind to others that are not the
Mhm,
same as you,
mhm,
but then we
mhm.
say, well, he's not like the normal kids. Well, then you're
Right,
kind of speaking out of different sides of your mouth. You're speaking
right,
different languages,
right,
right? So
right.
we have to be sure that our actions are matching our words.
I love it. I love it. Because
So
in
if we're
my
gonna
heart, right? In my heart, I was like, oh my gosh. And I felt so bad. But you're
yeah,
right. Your actions, my actions was saying
they
one thing,
have
but my
to
words was
align.
saying something completely different. Completely
Yeah,
different. Right.
they have
And
to
not
align.
even again that not being aware.
Right.
Right. And that's how we bring an awareness to it. Christina says, this is how my parents started conversations with me as a kid. Normal is a conversation starter. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Like that.
And another word, and I know we have to wrap it up, but
Mhm.
the word retarded.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
offends me. So it's
Yeah.
and it's not just for my daughter. I've worked in the
Mhm.
area of special needs and mental health for so long
Yeah.
in that capacity for so many years.
Mhm.
And when I hear that word, and
Yeah.
people look, oh, you're so retarded. Oh, and what exactly does that mean? They're
Right.
actually referencing a person who has a special need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just have to be mindful of our verbiage,
Right.
we have to be
Yes.
mindful
Yes.
because it's hurtful to others, it's
Right.
isolating to others, it's
Right.
it's stigma. That's
It
stigma.
is. That's
It's stigma,
exactly. Yep.
so
And can you I can only imagine how someone with a special need would feel hearing that,
right,
you know?
right,
So again, I see Christina said they would ask me, why are they not normal? Yeah, like that's a good, if you hear your child say that, that is a good opportunity to
yes,
use that as a conversation piece, as a teaching moment to share with them what should be said. I
right,
want you to share with us um, about your support system, how important your support system is, and then you can tell us your last words. How important
um,
was your support system, especially when she was
is
younger? Is your support
is
system,
right
and what does
now.
that look like? And what does that look like for you?
Oh my goodness, my parents, amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
My mother was the first to get Victoria reading.
Wow.
Up for 2 months, a month and a half, and she came back knowing 20 sight words. I had no idea that my daughter could learn it at
Wow.
5 years old, and
Wow.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
And so my parents, they're just awesome. My
Yeah.
grandmother was there when
Mhm.
my parents were in New York, and thank God she's even still here, 88 years old. And
Wow.
when I tell you, just vital and
Mhm.
amazing. I have, her godmother's on here, amazing.
Yeah.
I have friends, who have looked at my children as their own, just so awesome. My church family, my
Wow.
daughter just had surgery. She just had reconstructive surgery to her knee. And
Mm.
I've
Mhm.
gotten calls from my pastor's wife and so many members. I mean, just the family and friends, and even in the school system, I have some people that I've connected with. So it's very important. Get to
Mhm.
know the administration in the school
Yeah.
beyond beyond when something's wrong. Get to know them because they'll
Right.
look out for you and they'll provide the supports as well. I mean,
Yeah.
and of course, God. God is the head of my
Yes.
life.
Yes.
He's the one that gives me the strength. He gave
Yeah.
me the strength to work full time and do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, and go to graduate school,
Wow. Wow.
and thankful for her father was very helpful, in helping us through that process as well. It's and his their other set of grandparents,
Uh-huh.
just
Mhm.
amazing. Like I have, she has all of her grandparents, the family, friends, church, just
Mhm.
done it. It's not
Listen.
anything that can be done alone.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to let you have last words. You all hashtag DS aware. Okay.
Yes.
DS aware. The letter DS aware. Okay. That's our hashtag. If you can go ahead and drop that in the chat for me as Keya is giving her last words. Wasn't this really informative? Wasn't this really great information that was given to us, and to hear about her wonderful daughter Victoria? And hats off to you, Keya. Hats off to you for taking this where your daughter has a special need and turning it into something that can help all girls, right?
Yes.
Kennedy Sparkles. Like,
Yes.
that is amazing. Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you. I see Quiet Storm, DS Aware. If you're still in there hanging in there with us, DS Aware. What are your, oh, yes, there we go.
Thank
Kennedy
you.
Sparkles. Yes, please follow her.
Yes.
Follow her. Kennedy and Keya's journey. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. All right, you all see it. Thank you, Lou. Thank you so much. DS Aware. You all, is that Victoria?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful. Yes. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to follow you all and begin to see more about and see
Yes.
what all is happening with her. This is
We have
going.
many things coming up, several events that'll be coming soon. So be on the lookout. And just all I want to say is teach your children, teach your
Mhm.
children to just respect other people, respect other children,
Mhm.
um, to love on them just as they
Yeah,
would desire, and advocate for your children. And this is
good.
not just my daughter, so advocate for your children, and just be mindful that everyone has feelings,
Yeah.
everyone has feelings, and we all have something to give. That's what
Yes.
I tell my sons as well. We all have something to bring to the table.
Mhm.
We
Mhm. I
all
love
have
that.
an ability. We all have a different ability.
Yes, a different
A
ability.
different ability.
I love
So
it.
that's pretty much what I have. And thank you so much for having me. Thank
Yes,
you
thank
so
you
very
all
much.
so much. Listen, I want to say thank you to Keya. Thank you, everyone that took time out of your schedules to join us and to spread this awareness together. I want you to remember, if you've not shared our YouTube channel with someone, remember to Find Your Voice Friday is next Friday. And as always, remember to light it up. I'll see you all next week. Keya, you can stay on. All right.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Remember to
Bye.
follow Kennedy Sparkles.